In the first two greetings cards tutorials, I showed you how easy it is to inkjet print A3 and A4 cards, how to print them to bleed. Now, this is possible because normal inkjet printer drivers are usually set up to enable printing to bleed on an A3 or A4 page, whether printing portrait or landscape. When you print custom paper sizes on inkjet printers, you usually lose the ability to print to bleed. Now, if you see this one, let's bring this closer up. You can actually see that I've tried to print right to the edge, but it's actually stopped within about 3mm of the edge. So that doesn't look too bad because I've arranged the image. It's set into the right slightly, so that let's show you. I brought this image slightly in to the right by about 3mm, so that I've anticipated the fact that it won't print right to the edge on the other three sides. So I brought that in, so it doesn't look too bad, and it prints quite nicely. So that's one way to get around greetings card printing when you're printing to a custom size. Now, the way I prefer to do it is to make a better presentation of these edges. And then what I like to do is, let's show you the next one. I like to print with a slight vignette over the side, a feathered edge all around the side. So let's quickly show you how I achieve this effect using a custom size. Now, this one is I've actually used a piece of paper, let's put that there, a piece of paper, 230-gram archival mat, and we've cut it to 14 inches wide by 5 inches high, and we've ended up with a card that's a 5x7. And we happen to have envelopes that will nicely accommodate this 5x7 size. So so we've opened up a new document that's 14 inches wide by 5 inches high, and the first thing we always do is we'll create a guide, a folding guide. We always do this. So vertical folding guide, 7 inches. Here we go. So that's our folding guide. Now we do this for the inner, and we do it for the outer, but I'm going to show you the outer first of all. So we've got a document, in this case 14 inches by 5 inches. I'll get a suitable image. This is my favourite image for the time being. Now, this is roughly the correct aspect ratio. We know that we can crop that and fit that into here. Now, what we'll do is we'll have a crop. So we're going over to the crop now, and it's already set up for 7 inches by 5 inches and a 300 pixel per inch resolution. So that's 7 inches wide, 5 inches high, and so let's do the crop. Now, for the purposes of speed, there's nothing too fussy, but what we've got to make sure, I've actually put in this one, I've put a dedication down the bottom there. I've actually put where the image was taken, which is Barkham Mills in Sussex, just round the corner from us, and actually who's taken the shot and who's done the nice bit of work on the image. In this case, it's Mike Harvey Penton. So we'll do the crop. Now let's bring it up to a similar size to the actual. That's the source and that's the destination. Now, what we're going to do now, so we'll go. I'll tell you what I've just noticed. Let's go back a bit. Let's step backwards. I didn't quite like that last crop. Let's do it again. One of the beauties of these videos is when you make a mistake, I've always been told, don't just retake the video. Put it right in front of people, because they're likely to make the similar mistake. So if you do make a mistake, just carry on and do it right. So in this case, we had a little bit of black along the bottom there, so we've just redone the crop. Let's Let's crop it. That's better. We've got a nice crop along the bottom there now. So we'll now do the move. So we go to the move tool. We're using an old version of Photoshop so that everybody feels that they can do this. We move this across, and because it's the right size, there we are. There we are. Incidentally, I don't snap. I've made sure that we've unclicked this snap tool, because when we're doing this accurate moving, the last thing we want is a snap tool in the way that's stopping us from getting this nice accurate line. So now we've placed our image, what we've now got to do is create the vignette. And the way to do that is to go to the selection tool, and what I've done is I've put a 10 pixel feather on there. It's very straightforward. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to look at these lines at the side there and use this as my guide. I'm going to come in at the top there, about 1/4 of an inch in from the top right hand corner, go to the bottom about the same amount. So we're going to go there. There we are. I'm using those as my guide. About 1/4 of an inch in, and go down the bottom there. And I've just caught the. That's it. Let's come in a bit. Let's come in a bit there like that. Let's do that again. So we're just going to go up the top, go down the bottom like so. And we've just included the wording. Go like that. Now we've got we've got a selection there we happen to know is feathered. What we've now got to do is to invert the selection. So we've inverted that. We go to the paint bucket tool, and we simply click on there, the paint bucket, and the foreground colour is white. So we've got a nice vignette on the edge. We'll deselect, and now we can see the image itself. Let's bring it up large so you can actually see what we're dealing with. Let's move the image down, and you can actually see now a nice feathered edge, and it's feathering out the right amount in from each edge. And if we look further down, we've even preserved the writing along the bottom there. So we've come in a little bit, so it's not such a harsh edge. So when we print this, now where's the print I've printed? There we are. When we print this, it looks nice. You see that? Let's come in closer. See that edge there looks quite nice. Now let's change our view. Let's come away and look at the printer. Now in this case, we've got lots of printers here to play with. I'm very lucky. What we've got on this one is an Epson R2000, brand new machine, fantastic machine incidentally. What we do is, the first thing we do is we'll print our inner. Now in previous videos I've showed you how to do the inner, so nothing changes there. What we actually do is we print that. We print that, and it goes in here. Imagine you've got a blank piece of paper, and it comes out. It comes out like so, and then we turn the paper round like that. Ignore the fact that that's already printed. You put it back in the printer, and it comes through the printer like so. And so long as we follow the routine. Now let's come back to the screen, and I'll show you that we've actually given you. Let's come in nice and close. We've actually given you some images for you to copy, so you get the orientation dead right. You always print the inner first. That's the rule of double-sided inkjet printing. Now we've already told you how to create the text and to turn it upside down. You simply create the text, select it, and you do a transform 180 degrees. That's actually how you do that. You notice our inner, we've still got a fold line so we can orientate our text correctly. But if we print that landscape to a 5x7, let's actually show you what we do. So if we're going to print that inner, we simply go File, Page Setup. Now in this case, we've created a custom size. And the way to create a custom size in most Epson and also Canon printer drivers is you create a new page size. So let's have a look where we are with. So that's that. So that's the page size we've created. 12.7 width by 35.56 height. We have to remember to make sure that if we're doing a long length, we've got the length going down the printer. That's the rule. It's no good expecting 35 centimetres, which is the metric form of 14 inches. It's no good expecting that to be able to print left and right across the printer because the printer driver just won't accept it. So we go so let's try and explain this clearer. We're printing, look at this, that's the piece of paper we want to print on. Now this piece of paper is actually, in this case, 14 inches wide by 5 inches high. So in metric, we've set this up so that we're actually printing like this as it's going through the printer. Now 5 centimetres is, 5 inches is actually 12.7 centimetres. And 14 inches all the way down the page is actually 35.56 centimetres. So we've created this special. We've got no margins. We've then saved that as that particular name. In this case, it's 12.7 by 35.56. We click OK. So we've now got a custom. We've now got a custom size. What we now do is we print it out. So we're printing out this inner in landscape. We click OK, and that will print all right. So we'll print that one first, that image first, and then secondly, we print that one. The way you'd actually do this is, let's say you had 50 cards to print. You'd print 50 of those, and they'd all go through. And we'd end up with a nice stack of cards like this. So 50 of those would go through. And then what we do is we'd simply turn them around, reinsert them into the printer. Ignore that little bit there. Imagine that's a plain piece of paper. And then we'd reinsert those through the printer until we've actually got like this. Okay. Now, if we come further back, so that we've covered the printing, let's just show you, we've done it before, but let's show you again how to turn your flat finished card into a nicely, that's it, this is our cutting board. Let's get the mouse out of the way. So we've got our custom size piece of paper, which is the 230 gram archival mat. It's absolutely perfect for this application. You get it from Marrutt.com, and so so we bring it together. That now gives us the accurate size. That looks quite nice. But what we now do is we turn it over. We put a nice little ruler, and we use the flat of a knife just to run across the back of the card. Nice, across the back. Now, because the register in Photoshop is so accurate, we get our image placed exactly correctly. And there's our finished card, all properly with the text and the image all nicely set up.